Welcome to Glitch Cube. We're a gaming podcast, and each week we take a deeper look into the art of video games. I'm Christian.
I'm Chris.
And it's me, Christian. I just said that. But this week, this week it's going to be March 8th on the release of this episode, which means March 10th is right around the corner, just a couple days away. And all you gamer fanboys know exactly what that means. That is Mario Day. So in celebration of that, we are going to be looking at our fondest memories of the Mario franchise. But before we get into that episode, let's go into that weekly update. What do you got going, Chris?
Well, a little bit of everything. I've kind of taken a step back on Valheim since the wife's been busy, but I got started on 2 other games right now. For the more meh title, but I'm actually enjoying it. So I was able to get Marvel Avengers for basically $5.
Oh, there you go. Why not?
And I figured why not? Because I play with a buddy, and it's with another buddy. It's actually kind of fun. It's weird. Like, the story of it isn't bad, and this is coming from someone who doesn't really care for superhero stuff. It's all right. It's a good little time waster, I guess. But still pumping through Xenoblade Chronicles, loving it. Like, I'm pretty much up to the part that I stopped playing it on the Wii, and it's just, I don't know. I don't know why I never really got into this game before. Like, it's just really good. And I think the one title that has blown me away recently that I just started playing too, Remnant from the Ashes.
That looked really good. Yeah.
It's free on PlayStation Plus right now.
Oh, nice.
And it's co-op. Like, Chris and I are playing it right now. And I mean, it's up to 4 players. So, I mean, if you wanted to play it, hell, we could have a threesome. Like, it actually works because there's 3 different classes in it.
Oh, okay.
There's a tank, there's a mid-range who is kind of like a healer, which he is. And then there's the hunter, which I am. So I'm like long range, but I can also like do melee. So I kind of act as a tank. Okay. Imagine a Souls-like, but you don't get punished for dying.
I already love it.
Yeah, and it's got a somewhat not super deep like RPG system. Like, you have traits that you level up, so it's like your health, your stamina, or it could be other things like gain more experience or range damage is stronger. Like, it's not your typical like stat increases, but it's like bonuses, I guess. The game is awesome, dude. Like, it's like an easy Dark Souls, but it's still challenging, right? I feel like if you want to get good at Dark Souls or a game like it, this would probably be the game to practice in. Okay. Because I'm not great at Souls games. I'm going to be honest here. Like, I play them. I enjoy them. I mean, I've only played the first one, Bloodborne, and I've played like a bunch of Souls-likes, but I know how to dodge roll. I'm getting better at parrying. This game, you don't have to worry about parrying either. So, I mean, you just have to roll, which is also nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
And you can shoot, which is cool. So you're not just stuck with like a sword or an axe. So it makes it kind of easy. And the setting is cool. It's post-apocalyptic. Its roots are overgrown everywhere. There's like these weird demons and stuff. It's a really cool game. And for being free, I'm like, this is insane. It's, I mean, last month Control was free. So, I mean, that was a pretty fun game too that I still haven't beaten. But this game is just awesome. And I recommend it, especially if you want a non-punishing Souls-like. It's great.
Yeah. No, it looked great. So,
yeah, I recommend it. But what have you been playing?
Oh, man. Yeah, so it's funny. This is going to be the first update in a little while where I actually have a game to talk about. But
oh, shit.
I know, right? shocker, a gaming podcast, and I don't play a lot of games because,
Gaming.
adult life. But I've actually picked up the new Bravely Default.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, first impressions, beautiful game. It's gorgeous. The graphics are great. The character design's really good. The
Dude, the
the
towns.
monsters look fantastic. Yeah, the towns are beautiful. It's all like watercolor painted. It's
Mhm.
gorgeous. Um, I had a little sour taste in my mouth from the previous Bravely Default I played on the 3DS, but that was
Really?
just because at one point it just became overly hard and I just lost interest because I couldn't beat this one boss. Like it felt like I was cruising through everything just fine, and then all of a sudden I was just like, all right, well, I can't do this anymore.
Oh.
Right. So that made it a little difficult, but I did love the aesthetic of that game regardless, and I'm still really enjoyed my time with it. But
Mhm.
this one, it's the same battle system and everything, but it just feels more polished. It feels
Hmm.
better. I don't know why, but it just does. And I maybe it's just I'm in a different mindset. I'm more ready for this title right now, but I'm having a lot more fun playing around with the job systems, which that job system is insane. Having main classes and subclasses and picking different bits and pieces from each one and being able to switch on the fly like you can. It's reminiscent of like Final Fantasy V of
Ooh.
that really expansive, huge list of jobs because there's a lot of jobs in this game. But the way it's laid out is just really, really cool. Like one of the mechanics that like I'm only about 4 or 5 hours into it and I'm like blown away already. But one of
Huh.
the things I was looking at was with the white mage and the black mage, right? They have a ability where one of them is called like lunar or something and one of them is called solar something. I can't remember the exact name of it. But with the lunar ability, your black magic spells do more damage at night, and with the solar ability, your white magic spells are stronger during the day. Now, what you can do is actually, no, it's just your magic is stronger during the night or during the day. So, what you can do is you can have your black mage multi class in the white mage powers until you get to like level 5 with the job system. So now you have it during the night and the day, you have a boost to your magic.
Oh.
And you can do that for the white mages too, or whoever you want to set up as mages during that time, or whoever's using magic attacks or whatever it may be, right? So there's a
Mhm.
little like meta things that you can do with it and kind of just mix it up to make it what you want to really to really tailor these characters to how you play, which is really, really interesting. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it recently, and I was actually just playing it like 5 minutes before we hopped on this recording. So it's gonna be one that I'll be playing for quite a while. I think. I think this is gonna be one of those big RPGs that I actually go through and finish because
Hell yeah.
it's too good, and the grinding's not bad the way they have it set up. Now, it's a really grindy game, and it's a JRPG, right? Like, they
Mhm.
kept it very classic in that sense, but the way you're grinding in the game is really cool, right? Because of the Brave system, you get to, like, kinda speed it up in a sense. So, it's not just, like, countless hours, you can condense hours into a few minutes, and you just don't feel like you're wasting too much time. And
Mhm.
actually, this is actually a cool thing that I saw on the map, how you can see all the monsters before you interact with them to activate a battle. If you kind of over level your character just a little bit, or you become strong in that area, the monsters will actually run away from you because now they're afraid of you,
Hmm.
which is a cool little addition to the game. And there's all kinds of like fun little things. So I won't go too much into it because I feel like this might be one that we could potentially do a deeper dive on because of how much they added to the JRPG sense, where it still feels like a classic, but it's very modern and it's very well done. So I would, yeah. So I won't bore you with too many of the details because I feel like I could talk about this one for quite some time and I've only played it for a few hours. I can't even imagine until like when I beat it.
Yeah, I feel like I have so many questions about it too, because I'm like, I played the demo and I enjoyed it. I felt like it was a little difficult in the
The
demo.
demo
I
doesn't
played it.
hold like I played the demo and I was like, "Eh, it's okay." playing the actual game, it's good. It's
Okay.
really good. Very different experience.
I'm a sucker for lots of job classes, and I was like looking at the demo like there's only 4. Like I know there's probably more in there, but
There's like 20.
Jesus. Oh,
I think it was like that. It was a ridiculous amount of job classes, and there's a few hidden job classes, of course, because JRPG.
Right.
So
It's interesting seeing like Square Enix, like their releases lately with RPGs. It's like I feel like some are hits and other ones it's just like why? Like this. I'm really excited for the Legend of Mana remaster. Same with the Saga Frontier. Like they're doing some good things, and it's like looking back, like it looked like they were kind of going on a weird path with like Avengers and that new game Outriders or whatever it's called. But I think I'm telling myself I won't buy Bravely Default 2 until I beat Xenoblade. Like I'm holding it because I know Xenoblade's going to be like 100-hour journey from what everyone keeps telling me.
Yeah,
so
I would recommend that if you're enjoying Xenoblades, don't play this one yet because you're gonna get sucked in.
Yeah, I honestly like. I kind of want to replay the first Bravely Default because I gave up on it halfway. But I don't have my copy anymore, so I'm like, maybe I should just play 2 because I don't think there's really any connection.
There isn't. They're standalone stories, so you can just hop right in. It's totally fine.
Oh man, you suckered me into buying it.
Yeah, I know, but I would hold off until you finish Xenoblades, and then dedicate some time for this one because it's a lot. There's a lot more that I didn't even mention that you can do. So, and not to mention even the side quests too. So, yeah, there's a lot to this game.
I think once I get it and stuff, we can save it topic for our Patreon episode.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
We've been working on this little project every month, and we just started, and it's going to be where we do a little like a deeper dive into our weekly update.
That's right.
We want to give back to the community more about us rather than a topic. And we're really excited. Like we're going to have more things to bring to you, but for right now, our big ones are going to be these like deep dive updates on what we've been playing, what we've been watching, and just thoughts and stuff going on in our lives.
Yep.
But definitely keep an eye on Patreon because there will be some episodes going up soon on that as well.
Yeah. And speaking on that note, we're going to be revamping the Patreon page and all of the tiers as well. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. There's going to be some adjustments made to it, but one of the biggest additions is this, and we're calling it the monthly patch notes. So it's going to be really fun and a cool little addition for you guys to get to know us a little bit better.
And merch.
Oh, so much merch. Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
All right, so looking at Mario and celebrating his life over these many, many years, it has to be the most versatile man in the world. He's had so many jobs over his career, from a plumber to a soccer player to a race car driver to a typing assistant. Like he's really done it all. So what's your first memory on Mario?
Oh boy, my first. I remember watching my brother play the first game a lot, the classic, and I played it. I think for me, my first real hands-on Mario experience that I ever had was Mario 2. And at the time, we had like Mario 1, 2, 3, obviously, because I was old enough by the time all those came out. And 3 was always my favorite, like once I played it through. Because 2 was so hard for me. Like, it's not because I was young, but it's just something about it was so different from the first one. And that's what made me want to play it more. So I got deeply like obsessed with it. And I feel like that was really my first Mario experience because it's just, I can still visually see it like clear as day. And I almost want to go back to it just because I was never able to finish it. I think it's one of the few early Mario titles I still haven't beaten to this day. And yeah, just everything about that game, the turnips, the music, the look, it's just, yeah, Mario 2.
Yeah, it was a good one. It definitely was a
What
good
about
one.
you?
For me, it was probably Super Mario World. I
Ooh,
remember really like that was another one where I watched my dad play that game a lot, and I would play every once in a while. But being that pixel perfect, and I'm still not great at platformers, to be
yeah.
honest, but it was still really an enjoyable experience. Those characters are just so iconic and memorable, and everything was just designed so well. Even when you were losing, you still had fun. Even hearing that death noise and watching Mario fall off the screen, like everything was still enjoyable while still frustrating at the same time. But
Mhm.
what one of my real early memories of Mario is actually a really funny one, and it's actually from school. And I took a typing class, and there's actually the Mario typing game
Oh,
where you
no.
had to type a sentence, and the faster you typed, the faster Mario would run from one side of the screen to the other. And there's one level in particular that sticks out to my head still, and that's with the little like piranha guy coming at you. And
Mm.
if you don't type fast enough, you get eaten. So like he's just
Oh, no.
swimming across the screen, and I'm just sitting there like the cat jumped over, like just trying to type as fast as I can to save Mario. But it's funny that like that game is still like ingrained in my mind and my memory, even though it's not like a real Mario game. It was one of their weird spin-offs, which they had
Mhm.
many, many very strange spin-offs of the Mario series because they put him everywhere, which I think was a really smart thing from Nintendo to do because they've created such an iconic character in doing so.
I, a while back, speaking of like an educational game like that, I never played the typing. I remember seeing it, but my education was Mario Paint.
Oh, yep, yep.
I was obsessed with the music maker in it, but I loved everything about it. And I mean, I wasn't the best artist at it. Like, if you look up Mario Paint now, like, there's people that play that game now and make like crazy looking art in it. It's insane. Like, people do crazy stuff with it that I didn't think was possible with such a simple toolkit, I guess you could call it.
Mhm.
Uh, but I was reading that the reason why Nintendo made like Mario Paint, Mario Typing, and education like the Mario Lost in Time or the history game,
Mhm.
or the time travel,
Oh, yeah.
is because around that time there was a lot of controversy with video games and saying like, oh, it's distracting kids from school, from hobbies. Like, they basically portrayed like kids just being brain dead and playing games.
Mhm.
So Nintendo saw that and was like, let's create educational stuff to introduce to schools or to parents and see like, hey, like they can still learn and play games.
Right.
So basically Nintendo was like, let's just tackle both ends. And I mean, I think they did pretty well because I was reading uh like a article, an interview at that time, and like people were saying like, yeah, this is like, it's totally fine with our kids playing games now. And it's like, looking at it, like they were smart doing that.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
'cause
mein,
it brought it
those games are
yeah,
good.
it brought that game home, and it brought it to the schools. It integrated it into a child's life, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Super brilliant.
They Nintendo's smart, or at least they used to be.
Yeah, right. I mean, one of the things we brought up hobbies as well, and Mario is also known for some hobby games, more specifically knitting. Have you heard about the knitting game from Mario?
I have not,
Yeah, so
but
apparently
I'm very curious about it.
apparently there is a knitting game that was created by one sewing company. I can't remember which one it is, but apparently you could kind of design different textiles using like uh, Mario symbols and things like that, and Mario artwork. And they actually had it where you could send off your design and get your sweater printed. and have
What?
like that was actually a thing. Or they even had one later after that one to kind of that was like a proof of concept. They had it where they had actual like stencils that you can color, and then you can get that and plug it into a certain sewing machine, and from there you can have it like sew out the pattern of these Mario creations that you're doing. And it was basically just like a coloring book, so it was like clip art that it was doing, but you could pick the
Mhm.
colors and do it. So it's funny that like not only did they try and tap into the educational market, they tapped into like home ec in a sense, right? Like the more of like hobby oriented things, and they just really were trying to market Mario as a
Oh.
everything guy. Like he is everywhere, and it's kind of bizarre to think about. It's really funny to see those textile games because they're really simple, but the fact that you can get that printed on a sweater and sent to your home and wear your creation, super cool. I obviously didn't do so well, but very interesting concept.
Dude, this is crazy. I remember, I think I was listening to Retronauts, and they were talking about how one of them had a Nintendo sewing machine
Yeah.
or knitting machine. And I was like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah, and that's for
And
this.
now you bring
Mhm.
that's crazy, and it looks crazy too. It's like it just plugs into the controller or the controller port.
Yeah.
That's not. Oh, it has a little dock for it. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's such a bizarre system that they tried to integrate, and when Nintendo is really smart with their innovations because they've tried a lot of things, right? Look at the Virtua Boy, like, they're the first ones to really do, like, VR gaming way back in the day, but obviously that was just a
Mhm.
red light shining in your eyes and make you go blind after a while.
Yeah.
But when they did an innovative product, they knew that it's a hard sell. Those new ideas they're really out there and outlandish, and they're not typical for gamers. So what they did is they branded it with Mario as the mascot for that innovation, or whatever first game came out for that system or that software, new tech. Mario
Mhm.
was the front runner, and it was their way of selling the unit and getting people interested, and then gauging the interaction after the fact. So it's an easy way to get it into the hands of the masses, and then seeing, does this actually work? Because so many people are going to buy something because it's Mario, and then
Yeah.
if it works, cool, replicate it, do it again, figure out how to expand on it. If it doesn't, then they just went on to the next tech, which is, I mean, it's pretty brilliant. It's a smart way of doing it. I mean, we see it now too with every single system that they're releasing. Every new system comes a new Mario game, whether it's an actual like Mario World game or it's like Mario Party or something like that. Like Mario is attached to whatever first title comes out always
Yep.
because he sells product and he is their mascot through and through. And they've really stuck to that, which is just genius marketing on their sense because it's easily it's easily memorable, it's easily recognizable, and it just gets people interested right away because everybody loves Mario. Hey, everybody, just jumping in real quick. Just want to say, first of all, thank you for continuing listening. And obviously, you're enjoying it because you've reached the middle of our episode. But before we continue on, we just wanted to remind you all that if you are truly enjoying what you're hearing and you want to learn some more about us, you can find us on social medias, and we have links in our description. And you can find me and all the drawings that I'm doing on Instagram at Kieran, and that's Keuran. What about you, Chris?
You can find me at Sloppy Cube on Instagram. That's Sloppy and Cube at the end of it. I do all retro games or just games in general. So if that's your thing, check me out. You can also message me about ideas and anything because I love talking.
Yep. We both really enjoy talking, obviously, because we are recording a podcast. So if you want to join in the conversation, please reach out to us on the Discord, and let's get right back into this episode.
You're bringing up like kind of how innovative they were with some things. I'm thinking back, like the Game Boy camera.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it was kind of like the first mobile camera,
And it
or like,
printed.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. They've done a lot of interesting things. And they're not just innovative in the sense of the tech that they're trying to push and change things up. I mean, they do it now too, even with like their controllers or how they really push the boundaries on what a system is. Like they don't
Yeah.
follow that same model that like PlayStation or Microsoft is following of what you would expect from a console. They're constantly trying to push those boundaries. And
Hmm.
to say that they're only innovative in their tech would just not be right. The way that they are innovative in their gameplay as well, of even just the Mario games, it's funny because when you look at them on the surface, they haven't really changed much. What does Mario do? He jumps. That's it. That's really it. It's a game about a guy jumping. And it's always been a game about a guy jumping. But what I find interesting is when they design these games, apparently any new game, any new iteration of a Mario game that comes out, the first thing they do is they create a room in that world where there's no enemies, no nothing. It's just a bunch of different sized platforms for
Huh.
Mario to jump around in. And Miyamoto will play those those like little danger rooms in a sense, and just jump with Mario for hours. And if Mario is not, it's not fun to jump around this world with no other interactions, then he makes them change it. Like he makes them make adjustments to the jumping mechanics or the noises or the feedback, because that's the core of the Mario games. And if the jumping isn't fun, then it's not Mario anymore. So to me that's crazy. To keep something so simple as jumping so relevant, and it's one of those mechanics that you kind of overlook in gaming, because it feels like it should just be a staple thing that's included in any sort of platformer. It's like, yeah, of course you jump. But when everything is tied around that core mechanic, it has to be done right. So spending those countless hours in this danger room and just jumping around back and forth with Mario to make sure that's fun before they even get to start designing worlds or anything like that is a very interesting process in my mind, coming from like a game design perspective.
It's different. You know, I feel like not a lot of other like developers do that with their platformers. And you know, when you say that, I'm like thinking back, like how are the other like Mario titles different the way he jumps? Because it, to me, thinking about it right off the bat, I'm like, it always feels the same.
Hmm.
He's always a little slippery.
Hmm.
He's got that slippery start at least, and then the jumps almost always feel the same.
Right.
But thinking about it, I do feel like a little tweak in every new installment.
Well,
I remember with Odyssey, it felt just a little different, but it just, that little difference felt so good compared to,
mhm.
say, Galaxy or Mario 64,
Well, that's
you
what I was
know?
gonna say. Like, compare Galaxy with, like, let's say Odyssey, right? The jumping still feels the same. It feels familiar, or even Mario 64. Those are two good ones. So
Hmm.
Mario 64 versus Mario Galaxy. The jumping is the same. He still does his flips, but in Galaxy, they threw in the extra mechanic of the like revolving around these mini planets. So how do you get that jumping to still feel familiar when you're adding in the fact that you're revolving around the world and jumping upside down and changing up the perspective, because that's a completely different environment for it to be jumping around in. So if you just threw in that normal jump cycle into those worlds, it wouldn't feel right. So there has to be like some minor tweaks to make it feel
Hmm.
familiar. So it's really clever how they do it, because each world's a little bit different. Each game's just a little bit different, where it's like a matter of perspective or changing of gravity. So how do you get something in like the jumping and make sure that it stays familiar to the player always?
Interesting.
Mhm.
I, it's, I don't know, it's weird. I look and I think like, man, Mario just hasn't really changed over time, but it's crazy how each game is so different, mechanic wise. Like going back to Mario 2. I mean, granted, Mario 2 was supposed to be a different game, and that's why it was kind of the way it was. But thinking how Mario 3 changed when it was Super Mario World, or Super Mario World changed to 64, it's interesting how mechanics change, world changes. Like, the formula is always the same, but everything around it is so different. And I feel like it's something I never really appreciated until recently. Honestly, I've been playing platformers of other IPs and thinking about Mario, there's something about it that just, nostalgia aside, it feels clean. Like it feels good.
The jumping feels right in the platform.
Yeah, it doesn't feel fake. I don't know, it's kind of weird to describe it, but I feel like I'll play, trying to think of a 3D platformer right now. Hat in Time. And I mean, it's a lot of fun, but it just doesn't have that same feel.
It's very floaty.
And yeah. But yeah, I mean, speaking of that, I actually just picked up the new one, the Mario 3D World.
Oh, nice.
Bowser's Fury.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I try to look for very simple kind of platformer games to play with my mom now, because she's been really wanting to get into like kind of easy games. And I figured, oh, well, Mario's always kind of easy enough. And she loves the Mario games. So I'm really excited to get started on that, because at first I didn't really want to get it because it just never really looked interesting to me. I always thought the 3D World and the Mario Deluxe or whatever were just like very basic. But I watched videos on this. The game actually looks really good. Like there's a lot of different things. It's kind of open world. Yeah. It's beautiful. I don't know why I slept on it for so long, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, it does look really good. I've been watching a lot of footage on it too. And the fact there's like hidden things on the maps too is a really cool touch. So yeah, that definitely looks really awesome. So we talked about your first Mario memory. Now, what's your favorite Mario game? And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be like an exact like Mario game, but like one that he's in.
The Mario movie with the Goomba with no neck.
That's my favorite.
I think that's going to be the thumbnail.
That's such a
for YouTube at least.
Such a horrible movie, but it's so good.
It's the best. If we do the best, we should also do our least favorite. I think my favorite Mario title, and I mean anyone that's kind of seen my post, anything Mario related on Instagram or other places, it's Super Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo. I love Paper Mario a lot too, but something about Mario RPG just, it brings back all the memories of my childhood. And it's also one of the few games where I feel like nostalgia doesn't blind me. Like I've played it recently, like a year ago, all the way through, loved it again. To me, it's easy. You only level to 27. The party members are cool. It would be the perfect RPG to give to somebody who's never played one before. And the music, the battle system, the bosses, it's really good. And I don't know, sometimes I really wish they would make a sequel to it, like a real one. But I also think like I don't think they could come close to that anymore, because I know, it's not Squaresoft anymore, it's Square Enix, but I don't feel like they would really make the same kind of game again.
No.
And it was such a beautiful combination of the two. And it's a bummer, because I I'm so hungry for another game just like that. But at the same time, I'm happy with my memories of it, and I'm happy that the joy it brings every time I touch it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But what about you?
Ooh, so my favorite one probably is Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door.
Oh, nice.
Love that title. I love it so much. And if you ask my stepmom, then she knows how much I really enjoy that title because it was actually I was on my first vacation to Hawaii to go visit them. And instead of wanting to go to the beach, I wanted to play Paper Mario. And I actually
Mm.
played that game start to finish in like one sitting. I didn't leave the
Oh my
couch. Yeah,
God.
it was a long time. It was like 2 days, but I didn't like turn it off ever. I just kept going and I played it from the beginning to the end, all the way through, which is just ridiculous.
Jeez.
Yeah, but that's how much I was enthralled by this game because like I remember playing Super Mario RPG back in the day, but it I don't have, like, a lot of memories of, like, really getting into it because I didn't own it. I only played it at a friend's house
Mhm.
for a little bit. So this was probably my first real time sitting down and playing, like, an RPG style game of Mario, and I just loved it. It hit every single, like it checked every box that I needed for an RPG at that time, and it's just really fun. And being able to play as Mario and recognize the characters and get introduced to some new ones and just figuring out those mechanics is just really enjoyable. And like the battle system was really well done, where it felt like interactive. And it's funny that even the jumps in a battle system game of an RPG felt good because you had to like time it right. It's interesting that they figured out how to even make it work in that sense when it's not really a game about jumping at all. You don't really do much. So it's really well done, super clever, and just well designed. So it was just a really fun title and a fun experience for me.
Speaking of that, I feel like, I mean, we could easily do a whole episode on the changes of Paper Mario because there's so many titles in it. And I will admit, I have played Thousand Year Door, maybe like, I don't know, 5 hours of it. And then for some reason, I lost it. And I'm bummed because, I mean, the game's really expensive
Oh
now.
really?
But, oh, yeah, I think it's like over 100
Oh shoot.
usually.
Wonder if I still have my copy.
Easy money right
Yeah,
there.
right. Buy a
Uh,
new microphone.
yeah.
I don't need any
Um,
more microphones.
yeah, you have too many.
Yeah.
Uh, it's it's something I really want to play just because I always see every RPG group I'm in praise that one. I've played the original Paper Mario. I've played Color Splash on the Wii U, which is surprisingly okay.
Mhm.
It's kind of cool. I play a little bit of Super Paper Mario, which, like you were saying with jumping, it's just your typical kind of Mario game. But now I really want to play Thousand Year Door.
Yeah, it's a good one. All right. So, on the flip side, do you actually have, because I'm having a hard time thinking about one, but do you have a negative memory attached to Mario
Hmm.
or a game or experience where you're like, that's not right?
There's one in the back of my head, and I'm trying to remember what it is.
Ooh, okay. I think I got one. It's a spin off title of theirs, but there are many spin off titles of the Mario franchises where they did a little mix up. And Mario Sonic Olympics.
Oh God.
Yep. That's the exact reaction when I start thinking about it again. It's such a bad title, and they made another one. Like, I don't understand why they're trying to push that so hard when they could just make, like, another Strikers or something like that. That's more interesting.
Yes.
But, like, the Olympic Games, they're just so bad. Like, I the I think what makes them bad is the fact that their mechanics aren't intuitive.
Mhm.
Right? Like, most Mario games or all Mario games, the mechanics are very intuitive where anyone can just pick up a controller and just go and enjoy and have a good experience with them. But when it comes to Mario Olympics, you have to actually play it a few times to get the mechanics down, and that's frustrating because it's supposed to be Mario. And what's even worse is that throwing Sonic into the mix talk about simplistic mechanics, you just hold right. That's it. And jump every once in a while. And to make something overly complex for no real reason is just super frustrating. And I mean, you can even bring up like, at first the Rayman's rabbits uh
Oh
mix up with
god.
them. That game's actually kind of enjoyable. And
Oh, the strategy game?
yeah, like
Yeah, that one's
that's
good.
not bad, but it's another one of those where it's like kind of like overly complicated mechanics for something like that is so known to be a familiar style of play. So I think that's my biggest frustration with Mario is when they kind of go a little too far with it and it doesn't become familiar anymore. And I'm wondering because I haven't looked into it, but like how much of like Miyamoto's influence was on those games because I feel like he would have told them to redo this a few more times if he actually treated them as like a true Mario title.
Maybe. I'm thinking
Yeah.
about the Mario and Sonic Olympic games now. 2020.
Horrible, horrible games.
I almost picked it up because, there was no Olympic games in 2020 and I'm thinking, "Oh, this might actually be worth something one day because we didn't have Olympic games that year," but
I honestly might.
at the same time it doesn't look like price ever went up. Nor did they ever change the title, which is kind of weird. I figured they would reprint it,
They might because
but
it just added in more things to the Olympics, like breakdancing. So there might be Mario breakdancing coming up.
there's breakdancing now in the
Yep.
Olympics? Wait, is there a list of all the new things added to the
Yeah,
Olympics?
they added like women's softball, Olympics, uh, breakdancing, something else too. I can't remember.
Skateboarding and surfing.
Yeah.
There's actually, off topic here, I met someone who's going to be representing the U.S.
Oh, cool.
for skateboarding,
Really?
which is kind of cool. Yeah, they stopped by the work
Oh, nice.
the other day, but yeah, that's crazy. When I heard skateboarding, like when this person told me, I was like, really? Like, when did that start? But I guess that's starting this
Yep.
time. Like that's wild.
Yeah, they're broadening. They're changing things up. Esports is
Damn,
next.
where's my esports? Yeah.
Yeah, that's next.
Shit, I'll actually try to be pro then.
Right? Might as well.
God, I'm looking at the list of all these other Mario games, and there's like, dude, I could go on forever about some of these, like Super Mario World 2, the Yoshi's
Oh, that was such a
Island
good
one.
one. That was such a good one.
I love that. Even though Baby Mario is kind of annoying, I loved it.
I love that cover art. It was too good.
You know what was good too? The Game Boy games, the Super Mario Land.
Oh yeah, those are great.
God, so many good Mario games, and it's like I forgot a lot of them. Even some of the sports ones. Like I know you mentioned Strikers, which is fantastic, but I'm thinking Mario Tennis and Mario Golf on the Game Boy. How it had like RPG elements to it.
Golf was great.
Did you ever play tennis?
No, I never played tennis.
Oh man, like it's the RPG elements made it so good. Like it was, to me, it blew my mind when I played it. And I only played a little bit of golf, so I didn't know much about it. But the new Mario Golf actually seems kind of interesting because it is focusing on that more classic style.
Might have to check that one out. So
Yeah.
I have a very interesting fact on Mario, actually, and it kind of goes off of the fact that we're talking about innovation and changing things up in the way that they do gaming or do games in general. And it actually has to do with Pikmin. Now, Pikmin is a great game, and it's become one of those that's like really well renowned, and people love it, and people love Olimar. The funny thing is that was actually supposed to be a Mario game when it first was being designed. And I feel like I might have talked about this before in a previous episode, but I feel like it's important to bring it up again, was the fact that this game was supposed to be a Mario game originally, but Miyamoto thought, oh, this doesn't feel familiar enough and it doesn't feel right because you're not really doing any of the tropes that you would be doing as Mario in this. It's a completely different kind of game. And they were afraid that it was going to fail like really badly. but they were so far in production they wanted to continue making it anyway and just release it. So what they did was they changed all the assets of the character designs, but they kind of kept the shapes, so you can kind of see Mario in Olimar's shape. But one of the funny things that they did was the character model that they were using, the actual asset name was Mario 1. Now, if you jumble up all of those letters, and obviously the number 1, you get Olimar. And that's where the name comes from, and that's where that character comes from. So, I think I can't think of another time where it was supposed to be a Mario game and they changed it up last minute, but that was an actual Mario game that they didn't have full confidence in, so they changed it up last minute and had to work really quickly. So now we have Olimar in the Pikmin games because they were kind of afraid to put Mario into it, but it was supposed to be Mario first.
That's interesting. I don't think I could picture Mario actually running around with a little Pikmin.
Exactly. So that's why they were like, no, I don't think this is going to work. Mario has impacted our lives tremendously as we've gone over, and I feel like it's impacted a lot of people's lives. But not just our lives, but just the gaming community in general, how we design games, how we think about them, what's fun and what is familiar, and what we expect of our platformers. And it's not even just gaming that he's impacted. There's Mario cafes, Mario movies, there's TV shows, there's everything, all those spin-offs. He's really been integrated into our lives in such an impactful way that it just makes sense that we celebrate Mario on March 10th every single year. It's National Mario Day because he is such an iconic character and has been with us for going on 30 years now. So it just makes 35 years. That's insane. That's older than us, almost. So
it is older than us.
barely, just right on the cusp, but still. It's just a great thing to think about, that a game character of like something that was just originally 16 pixels on a screen running back and forth can change the world and become so memorable and iconic that it changed the world and industry, just everything. And it just brings joy in people's minds when they think about Mario. When it comes to the music, the characters, the gameplay, all of it, it's just an enjoyable experience all the way around. So to that, I want to say thank you to Nintendo. I want to say thank you to Mario for everything you've done and inspiring not only my childhood, but all of our childhoods.
Whenever I see it, it always just warps me back to my childhood. So yeah, I'm grateful for them to provide all these amazing memories.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of other people feel that way too.
With that, that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you so much for listening. And as we mentioned before, make sure to keep an eye out for that Patreon so that you can support our channel, support us, and make it easier for us to make more content for you and get some more interesting things out for you. Maybe even more shows. Who knows? But keep an eye out for the Patreon. Keep an eye out for updates on merch. You can find all those things on our social media pages, which we have links in the description. Follow that link tree. You can go to our Instagram where we are most active, but we will be updating our Twitters and things like that as well in the near future. So with that, once again, thank you so much, Mario. Thank you for everything. Happy Mario Day to everybody. And bye.